Now, whether you're learning the craft to start a new career or tackling a DIY project at home, mastering plastering can seem daunting. But don't worry, we've got you covered with our next segment. Get ready to enhance your skills and achieve that perfect finish as we bring you the top 5 plastering tips that every plasterer, novice or expert should know. Let's dive right in and discover the secrets to smooth, flawless walls.
Hi, my name's Charlotte Robinson. I'm an interior solutions trainer here at British Gypsum, and today I'm going to go through some top tips on skimming. Okay, so first things first is we're going to get our prep work done. What you'd want to do is put some fibre tape or scrim tape on your joints for joint and crack reinforcement. So we have FT50 for your flat joints and FT100 for your internal angles and for your ceilings as well. It's also a good thing to notice at this time that your screws are finished flush and driven into the boards, that they're not proud, just in case you catch a trowel on them, and that there are no gaps bigger than 3mm in any of your boarding. If there are any gaps bigger than 3mm, we'd recommend that you replace the board completely. So now I'll show you the process of how to actually mix up the plaster. If you follow the manufacturer's guidelines on the back of the bag, it will tell you everything you need to know. So you have 120 minutes finishing time with this product. It will explain the coverage that you have. So you have about 10 meters squared with it, 25 kilo bag, and it will also explain how much water to use as well. You also want to make sure that you're using clean, fresh water, not contaminated with anything, as this may affect your finish. Top tip as well, please make sure that you use PPE where required. At the moment, I will be putting on my mask for mixing it, and I've got my gloves and my goggles on as well. Any wet plaster in the eye could mean an eye wash or a trip to the hospital. So this is now at the consistency I want it to be. I know this because when I put my bucket trowel into the mix, it's firm enough that it holds itself slightly. Today I'm using a spot board to put my plaster on now that I've mixed it. There are a few benefits of using this over leaving your mix in a bucket. One, it's just easier to apply, to get it off your spot board onto your hawk, onto your trowel, and then onto the wall. But also because it won't go off as quickly because the air is getting to it. If you leave it in the bucket, it will get hot quicker and it will go off on you quicker. Before I put the plaster onto my spot board, however, I will just wet it lightly with a brush, just because plaster's a wet material, it will slide off a wet material better. If I don't wet this first and I put the plaster straight onto it, it will probably get stuck because of the suction. So I'll just start wetting it now. I don't have to go crazy. Okay, so now that the mix is on my spot board, I now need to get it onto my hawk. But first, best top tip would be to just wet your hawk with a bit of material, just like we wet the spot board. It just helps you to get the plaster off your tools quicker and easier. So just get a little bit of plaster. And it just ultimately helps with the suction. So top tip when you come to take your plaster off your spot board is it helps if you take it from the same place every time, and also to really dig your trowel in when you're scraping it off. So what I mean is dig your trowel in and just plop it straight onto your hawk. So it's nice and clean, there's nothing I've left behind. If I don't do that, and I just spread this on top, I end up with plaster left behind that could potentially start to dry, and then you'll end up with dry plaster in your mix that you could essentially spread onto your wall. Also, once it's on the hawk, if you give your hand a shake, and just make it into a bit of a pancake, it will just help to stop it from sliding off so easily. So now that I've got my scrim tape on and I've done my ceiling, I'm ready to flush my joints out first. So this is the first thing you'll do, and then you can continue to finish the rest of the wall in. So now that I've put my second coat on, I'm just going over with my trowel just to flatten it. If you need to use a wet brush, that's absolutely fine, but we'd recommend that you wet your trowel rather than wet the wall, just because you don't want too much water on the wall. There will still be lines at this point, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go over it 3 times essentially, twice with a wet brush, and then I'll go over with a cross trowel with a flexi trowel. So when I'm troweling up, I am putting quite a bit of pressure through my wrist onto my trowel. If you don't, you can run the risk of snagging your trowel on your plaster and tearing it, or get kind of ripples and tiger stripes. So you want to make sure that there is a fair bit of pressure on your trowel, that you're pressing the plaster into the wall now. So before skimming my next wall, I just want to make sure that all of my corners and edges are really neat and tidy. And in order to do that, I'm just going to use this angled brush again. I'll brush down the sides of the wall and just pull in any extra bits of plaster, but I can also scrape off the excess on this back wall just before I plaster this one to make sure it's neat and tidy. So for my final trowel, I'm going to swap my trowel over to a flexi trowel, which is plastic, so it allows for that flex, and I'm just going to cross over horizontally on the wall. This will eliminate any lines that you've left as you're putting the plaster on. So with a wet brush again,
and there you have it, our top 5 plastering tips to help you achieve professional results in your next project. We hope you find these tips useful and make you feel more confident in your plastering abilities. As we come to the end of this show, we want to thank you for joining us, and don't forget to tune in to Building Better, where we continue our mission to provide you with the best tips, techniques and tools for all your building and renovation needs. Whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, Building Better has something for everyone. Goodbye.